What's up guys, Zach here from Move Outdoors, and on today's video I'm going to be doing a comparison of these two camera arm systems. In my right hand here I have a 4th Arrow triple arm system with a Manfrotto Be-Free fluid head, and in my left hand here I have a Lone Wolf Custom Gear triple arm with a SmallRig CH10 fluid head. I'm going to be doing a comparison of how quickly and quietly I can get them on the tree, their adjustability in terms of the different trees you can put them on, and a weight comparison. So, without any further ado, let's get into the video. Before I get started, I should clarify, I have a season or more of experience with both of these systems. The 4th Arrow system I ran for 2 years, and I've got 1 full season behind me with the Lone Wolf Custom Gear system, so I feel I can make a pretty accurate comparison between the two, and I have experience with both to back it up. First, I'm going to go ahead and talk about this 4th Arrow triple arm system. So as you notice, it's a 2-piece system. You have your base, which is going to get attached to the tree, and then of course you have your arm, which is going to go into the base. The base has all the adjustability. The arm is, of course, just an arm. Now, so since all of your adjustability is in the base, it very much matters how you set the base up. One thing that I like that 4th Arrow did is they included the level on the base. So you can get the base level and then you can get the arm level as well. So first let's go ahead and get this set up on a tree. Swing to the side here so you can see what I'm doing. I use my chest or stomach here to hold it in place, and then you're going to run the ratchet strap through. Cinch that down as tight as you can, and then of course you're going to ratchet. And wrap that around, keep it from blowing in the wind, keep it nice and tidy, and then you do your adjustments to the base. So switching to my cell phone here just for a closer view, you can see the level on the arm. This is what the base looks like once it's set up on the tree here. So what we're going to do is loosen this knob on the side, and got to loosen it a little more. Go until we find a level. That's level enough for this purpose. Tighten this back down. Now, there are some modifications you can do with this that make it much more easy to handle. Derek Craig has some YouTube videos on this. He runs the channel New Day Outdoors. I highly suggest you check out his videos on the 4th Arrow camera system. He's got quite a bit to say, and he's got an engineering background just like I do. So he can speak pretty intelligently about this. So once that's all set up the way you want, you're going to grab your arm. All right, we've got the base set up the way we want. Now we grab the arm. Just slide it down into the hole, and then there's a little knob right here that you're going to turn that kind of locks the arm so you can't just accidentally lift it out. And then you're all set up. It's just a matter of putting your camera on the system, which I'm not going to do because my camera is, of course, recording this. Okay, now that I've got the 4th Arrow system set up, I'm going to go ahead and set up the Lone Wolf Custom Gear system. Like I said, this is the system I've been running this entire season. So you can keep the strap attached, which is nice. It kind of runs that Versa button, similar to how the stands and the sticks do. It's not quite a Versa button, but it's similarly shaped and serves the same purpose. It's just machined into the part. You'll notice there's not a lot on the back in terms of helping keep it level on the tree, and you're going to use this adjustment knob here to get it level and keep it tight. So I will demonstrate how I get this on the tree now. Very similarly, I'll bring this knob out pretty much as far as it'll go, and the reason I do that is because then I have the most adjustability to get it as tight as possible before I start pushing it down and leveling it out. So a little example of this here. Very similarly, what I'll normally do if I have my tree stand here is I'll set this on the seat of my tree stand and wrap this around the tree, pull it taut, slip the cam strap loop over the button, and I'm trying to do this where you guys can see it, and cinch down. And when you cinch down here, this is where how you set this up. So the 4th Arrow, you can put it on the tree basically however you want. You can pretty well get it level. The Lone Wolf Custom Gear, you have to try and get it as level as possible to start. So, perfect example here is I'm now going to tighten this down, and you'll notice this is pointing way high up. I mean, it's just really high on the tree. Nothing about that is level. And that's for a reason. What you need to do now is push down on the end. So get it as tight as you can. And then you're going to push straight down and start screwing this in. And then that'll help you achieve level. And if you're a little bit off like I am here, what you got to do is bring it back out, readjust, and pull down again. And it's a little bit of a fine-tunement system that you kind of got to get used to with some practice and some experience. So again, I'm pushing down on this while I'm screwing that in, and that's going to help me get level. Now the reason this is important is it really reduces the amount of bounce that you're going to have in this system and increases your ability to make it level. So that is a pretty level system right there, and it is sturdy. I mean, that is rock solid. One trick I've noticed with the Lone Wolf Custom Gear system is that if you put a lot of load on the side, it kind of loosens this. So what I'll do is I'll put it over to the side before I put my camera on, and then tighten it a little more, and then it's really not going anywhere, which is of course what we want. And then you're ready to, once again, put your camera on the arm. So this is the system I've been running this entire season. And the Fourth Arrow system is the system I ran for the last 2 years. So, first of all, the big difference you're going to notice is in the reach. You've got significantly more reach here with the Fourth Arrow system, but what I found was I often wasn't using that much reach. So, I'll get my measuring tape out here, get you a true measurement, extended length from the center to the center here. You're looking at about 33 inches, which, like I said, I've never had this extended all the way out. Now, if you're back against the tree, it just doesn't make sense for it to be extended that far. And I just didn't find that I used it extended that much. Now I'll measure the Lone Wolf Custom Gear system in the same way. So we're going to go from the center of that back knob to right here, and you're looking at, let's get this a little straighter, but it looks like 24.5 inches of reach. Let's check it again. Yep, 24.5 inches of reach. So you're losing about 8.5 inches between the Lone Wolf Custom Gear arm and the Fourth Arrow arm. Now, me being right-handed, I like to keep the system on my right-hand side, so this is a little awkward having it down here on the left, but we're going to ignore that for the time being. One thing I've noticed here is, you know, I've seen a lot of people online talk about the bounce in the Lone Wolf Custom Gear arm, and that it's a really bouncy camera arm, and it's hard to get good footage on. I have not had that experience. I have not dealt with a ton of bounce, so see here, if I pull down, yeah, I mean, there's a little bit of bounce, but if I pull down on this, it actually just seated itself a little harder right there. So you can see I didn't tighten that enough. A little bit of pushing down here, and I'm coming off the tree. Yep, look at that. So the Fourth Arrow Talon kit, it's good, but it could be better. So I'm going to tighten this down a little bit more. Okay, let's try that again now, shall we? So same thing, but if I pull down on that and let go, there's significantly more vertical bounce on this. Now, it's a lower frequency, I'll give it that. It's a lower frequency, so it might not be quite as noticeable when you're filming, but there is a lot of vertical bounce there, very little vertical bounce there. And both of these are at roughly the same angle away. This is no longer totally level since I did that little. So again, you're back against the tree here. One thing, I'm going to push the Lone Wolf out of the way. One thing that I did like about the Fourth Arrow triple arm is that in the event that you had a deer come to the opposite side of the camera, you can just bring it around you like this. And assuming I was left-handed, which I'm not, you could still get the shot on film. Where with the Lone Wolf arm, losing that little bit of reach, this becomes a lot more difficult, and you're kind of leaving the camera farther out, and it's a little more difficult to look at the screen, get everything in focus on that offhand shot, to the point that I actually had found myself throughout the season, instead, if I anticipated the deer coming the opposite way, I'd put it behind me so that I could control it with my left hand, and I'd have to hold my bow in my offside hand, control it, switch, draw, shoot. Which worked fine, not really a big deal. Just one of the differences between the two, with sacrificing that little bit of reach that the Fourth Arrow triple arm has. Talking about weight between these two systems, I weighed these at home before I came out here to do this video. So what I want to share now is a couple pictures of the weight, and what you'll notice is that this Fourth Arrow setup is more than 2 times heavier than the Lone Wolf Custom Gear setup, which is really significant actually. One of the reasons I looked to upgrade was because of the weight of this, and the 2-part system was bulky for packing. I found myself needing to run a bigger backpack and kind of struggling to pack it nicely with the rest of my system. So this Fourth Arrow kit comes in at almost 6 pounds. Almost 6 pounds, and that's a lot when you're not even talking about the camera yet. Now, granted, the BeFree head is heavier than the CH10 head, so some of that weight is in the difference of the heads. However, the arm and the setup itself, I did individual measurements here, and the arm weighs a little over 3 pounds, and the head alone weighs a little over 2 pounds. So just this head mounting, before you even get to the arm with the BeFree head on it, weighs almost as much as this entire Lone Wolf Custom Gear setup with the head on it and my remote control attached to it. So as far as weight goes, if you're concerned about weight savings, you absolutely want to look at the Lone Wolf Custom Gear. If you're more interested in reach, you want to look at the Fourth Arrow. One thing that I really like about the Lone Wolf Custom Gear that I'm not a huge fan of on the Fourth Arrow is actually the tree attachment method. So even though the base is pretty nice, I mean it is heavy, but the fact that you can adjust it a lot, I do like that. However, what I don't like is the fact that it is a ratchet strap. It's loud, it's noisy, and you can swap it for a cam strap, but it doesn't come with it. It's an extra cost upgrade if you want to switch to a cam strap for this, where the Lone Wolf Custom Gear comes with the cam strap, which is really nice. I've had no problems with it staying on the tree, no problems with it kind of falling over time. It's solid. Like, you're not going to accidentally push the cam strap like I was just trying to right there. You're not going to accidentally pop that loose. I mean, it is locked in place. It's not something you need to worry about. The ratchet strap, of course, gets it in place just as well. You're just looking at, 1, a little bit more weight because ratchet straps are heavier, and 2, you're going to think about the noise factor then when you're in the woods. And what I found myself doing a lot is I would put my hand inside my sleeve like this and try and cover it the best I could and just do 1 click at a time to try and keep it as quiet as possible, especially when I'm pushing in close to a bedding area. For a 1-to-1 comparison between the two, and really which one I'd prefer, in all honesty, I gotta say I prefer the Lone Wolf Custom Gear arm. Originally, when I bought the Fourth Arrow, I was looking at the Lone Wolf Custom Gear arm, and I wasn't sure that I would like it. I was a little concerned about the bounce everyone talked about, and after attending a couple Mobile Hunter Road shows, I'm glad to say that I took a chance on the Lone Wolf Custom Gear arm. I am more than happy with that. Now, that's not to say I wasn't happy with the Fourth Arrow system. I just think the Fourth Arrow system leaves a little bit to be desired that the Lone Wolf Custom Gear system answers. For example, weight and packability. Those were 2 huge reasons that I switched to the Lone Wolf Custom Gear system, is because it is so much lighter than the Fourth Arrow system and it's so much more packable. And I'll put a little clip over top with the pack dimensions of how tightly each of these pack down so you can get a good comparison between the two. Now, one thing that I really liked about the Fourth Arrow arm that isn't a feature on the Lone Wolf Custom Gear arm is this ability to independently level the head, and I feel that in a general sense, I was able to get the Fourth Arrow a lot more level in a lot more situations than I have been able to the Lone Wolf Custom Gear arm. Now, the Lone Wolf Custom Gear arm, don't get me wrong, I'm getting it level, but I've found that at extreme points, like if I'm bringing it all the way out here, or bringing it all the way around here, I'm having a harder time keeping it level as compared to when I did the same maneuvers with the fourth arrow arm. And I think that's because the fourth arrow arm, you can get it a little more level with this independent leveling system. And then of course, if you put a leveling head on here like I have, that makes it even easier to get it completely level. I will say with the fourth arrow arm, what I truly found myself doing more often than not is ignoring this level and instead going off with the level out here. And the reason I was doing that is because there is a little bit of drop in this system just because of the weight of the arm coming out here. It creates a big moment. And what I found is even if this is level, this out here might be slightly down or slightly up or slightly left or slightly right. And so what I found myself doing is more often than not trusting this level over this level. And that's not to say I don't do the same thing with the Lone Wolf Custom Gear system. The Lone Wolf Custom Gear, you have a level right here, and then of course I have a level on my fluid head. And again, I found myself trusting the fluid head more often than trusting this level here. And that's just a function of how I've been set up and how I've been using these camera arms. Now you will notice the CH10 small rig arm here. This might actually be the CH20, I'm not entirely sure. You can adjust the level yourself, and you can actually put this thing pretty far out of level if you want. So what I do is I set it down on a table that I know is level, and then I'll get it level and then put it on, and I try not to mess with it. Of course I found myself messing with it quite a bit, but it is what it is. Ultimately, if you go with either of these systems, I don't think you're going to be disappointed. I think it kind of comes down to what you're really looking for in a camera arm system. If you're looking for weight and packability, you can't ignore the Lone Wolf Custom Gear head. I mean, it's just great in both of those aspects. Especially if you're a saddle hunter, I could see you definitely going more towards this. I feel the fourth arrow arm is more for like the ladder stand hunter, the large climber hunter, the larger hang-on hunter, where the Lone Wolf Custom Gear is kind of more for that mobile run and gun type setup. On the flip side, if you're looking for reach, I really think you should check out the fourth arrow system. There's a little bit to be desired with both of them depending what you're looking for, but ultimately, like I said, I don't think you can be disappointed in either one. Now, I know some of you might say this isn't a fair comparison between the two, given the differences. The reason I'm comparing them is because their price point is fairly similar, and both of them being triple arms, I know that some people have hesitation towards triple arms, so I wanted to do kind of a comparison between two different triple arms, or two different length triple arms even. If you're just looking at a longer triple arm versus a shorter triple arm, maybe you'll find this helpful if you're ignoring the brands or the specific models, because I know Fourth Arrow has a couple shorter triple arms now. I think they have the Satellite or Micro Light, I'm not entirely sure what they call it. I really hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you're still around, I'd like to give a quick plug to our podcast, On the Move, presented by Move Outdoors, available on all major podcasting platforms. Now that the season's winding down, we're going to be ramping up posting again, getting some cool guests in the upcoming weeks, and I think it's just going to be a great time. We look forward to having you guys as listeners on that. You can also watch it here on our YouTube channel. We do upload a video version every week as well with the audio podcast. In addition, I'd just like to plug real quick, we do have some merchandise available on our website, themoveoutdoors.com. We've got some sweatshirts, t-shirts, hats, and a couple other random things. It'd be great if you guys could go check it out. If not, I understand. Times are tough. Inflation is hurting everybody, unfortunately. But we hope you're doing well, and we hope to see you next time. Until then, you're on the move with Move Outdoors.